Good morning, everyone, on this January 4th, 2016. Time is just about to hit 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and this video will go over current pattern over the U.S. and how that looks to change over the next week or so. Lots of things to talk about today. So I started things off looking at the Northern Hemisphere Enhanced Infrared Satellite. Over the country, not a whole lot going on, with the exception of the western U.S. However, most of the country east of the Rockies is seeing relatively fair weather. Um, there is a shard of Arctic air, as you can see, moving its way into New England. Some very cold temperatures. You can see these colors in here. These are not clouds. These are very, very cold air temperatures that the infrared satellite is picking up. And you have this area of moisture and whatnot heading out to sea, which does not affect New England whatsoever. Looking out over the Pacific Ocean, we have a couple of disturbances moving eastward. There's one right here, another one back here, and there's more behind that as well. As we change things up over the country in terms of temperature, overall pattern, I think it'll be interesting to watch these storms move on shore, interacting with interesting temperature boundaries that do set up. So let's just take a look at the 500 millibar synoptic view over the CONUS. So this nice big trough over the eastern U.S. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is fairly mild. Big old ridge over the center of the country, and a bit of a trough starting to dig again into the west. So let's take a look at the spaghetti real quickly. So here we the trough, that's all over the eastern U.S. currently, and then your ridge, which is starting to break down, and that will continue as we move forward with this. So pretty fast breakdown in the western ridge, which causes the ridge over the much of the country to stay in place. That trough over New England now is now moved out to sea, so for the most part, the country is warm and dry for the next about Wednesday onward. Once that trough moves out, things really do warm back up over New England. Now we're making our way into the later in the week, and we have those few storms starting to move on shore. And of course, that's where you start to run into some problems. And there's a lot of spread in the ensemble right now, ensemble members all over the place, really. So this is still an issue as far as the placement of the polar jet, and you can see the craziness just continues downstream. So really, this is really interesting to see the 546 decimeter ISO height, where the possible positions that may be some just travel stay north, some do dip, some more of a trophy look. And of course, the ridge, the upstream ridge is in question too. Um, let's take a look at this morning's operational European model. Take a look at the vorticity on that. Okay. So I wanted to pull up the view for North America on this, so let's do that. That's better. And that's the mean sea level pressure, and I also want the vorticity. Okay. So moving this forward, a couple pieces of energy we'll be watching. Get ourselves situated here. Okay, so here's one, here's two. So let's see. Okay, so this piece of energy kind of shifts into the Great Lakes region, but doesn't really maintain itself too well. It's not really phased at all with everything else. Meanwhile, you have energy digging to the south here. Yesterday models, the Nzalmine, well, actually, no, the individual operational model had this closing off at 500. Doesn't look like that's happening today. It's a bit faster. Okay, so it does. It's a very slow-moving system. It eventually does look to close off, or even partially close off. There's a lot of activity going on here, blocking over the North Atlantic, which will slow the progression of any sort of feature that moves into the Great Lakes region. Meanwhile, you have all this abundant energy moving onshore, diving south. That very chaotic. Okay, so here's the energy, the initial batch into the Great Lakes, kind of not really going anywhere. Meanwhile, you have this piece of energy moving eastward, while you have coal there digging southward behind this mess right here. Taking another look at the European spaghetti ensemble. Starting to see a trough, so you start to see this big ridge over Western Canada, which helps support the downstream trough over much of the country, and that looks to spread eastward with time, really getting cold, with definitely you have the storm potentials. So here we are, Monday the 11th. You have several members, including the operational, which looks like to be a western outlier here, with bringing this storm track right to the coastline. Meanwhile, most of the members in the mean solution are further offshore. So what we see here seems to be a bit of an outlier compared to the rest of the ensemble members. So this main energy heads into the Great Lakes, doesn't really go anywhere. Meanwhile, you have this shortwave moving eastward, slowly getting towards the Gulf of Mexico. Cold air plummeting southward. It looks like a phasing is about to occur, a very quick phasing. So this really gets pulled northward fairly fast. Looks like any sort of storm would probably, again, a warmer track for Boston, possibly, based on this individual model run. This huge upper level low. This is very, very cold air moving into the center of the country, while a storm kind of just quickly moves through the area. Just continued cold. No real big storms on this model. Take a look at the sea level pressure. Sure, it does. Okay, so this area low pressure, this is the initial wave of energy that comes on shore, and then you have more stuff behind it. Here's the cold air filling it behind. Note the higher thicknesses in this region, indicating some blocking and spot potential. So this low pressure doesn't it heads into the Great Lakes and doesn't really move a whole lot after it does so. Meanwhile, you have the trough behind it starting to deepen, very cold air. Meanwhile, you still have this ridge over the eastern U.S. And it looks like a quick phasing. So you see this low pressure starting to develop. It looks like this remaining whatever's left here will help to kind of pull this up. It looks like this new low will phase with anything. Will pretty much become one new low, which will track to the west. This will be a very warm storm for New England. This is your 540 line, so yeah, this would be pretty miserable if you're a snow lover. Meanwhile, this exceptionally cold air coming into the country behind that. But really, what's fun with cold air but no snow, right? Take a quick look at the forecast 850 millibar temperatures, because that looked very cold, and I'm just curious to see how cold that really is. So let's fast forward here. Oh, this is I like to say a polar vortex kind of thing, because usually when I see 850 millibar temperatures this cold, it's usually associated with a polar vortex phenomenon. Yeah, this is just an exceptionally cold pattern, and it looks like to reinforce itself, keep itself maintained fairly well. Very interesting pattern. And just taking a look at the overall pattern, you maintain this ridge over Western Canada and this broad, long wave trough over much of the country. Lots of energy digging south. So, while it looks like there's some storms potentially coming up over the next week or so, I think the overall pattern will trend towards something that's very cold, mostly dry. Take a look, last look at the spaghetti. Yeah, it is a bit chaotic, but definitely cold pattern persists through the second week of January. I'm not too confident on the storms at all right now. Just looking at this right now, there's a lot of spread. Storm track either, kind of like this. Well, the Euro kind of has a storm track like this, but a lot of the numbers, including the mean solution, is further east of that. Keep an eye on that. The question is how quickly things phase. This had things phasing fairly fast. So if we slow the phase down, I think things might be able to trend a little eastward. But we'll see. I think the big couple of days to worry about is just the 10th and 11th period. This storm right here looks to just kind of head to the Great Lakes and kind of just stay and wait for this second piece of energy to move around the trough. And we'll see how those two interact with each other. So yeah, I don't really want to go too much further with this video. So if you're in New England and you enjoy the cold, enjoy it. It'll warm up briefly after tomorrow. Take it real quick. So this is Tuesday, 850 millibar temperatures over the eastern U.S. Still cold, and then they do moderate some, and then really start to see this area of cold air enter the country, and that'll have a big impact on the future development of storms and the overall pattern. Alright, I'll end things there.